Hi everyone, thank you so much for sending through your questions with the link with Live Talk. We are so excited. We just finished the session and we are looking forward to releasing these videos in blocks as the weeks pass by. And the topics were really responded to through the biblical context, through that biblical view on how we can do relationships better. So we pray that you enjoy and we pray that you are blessed by this. Hello everybody and welcome to the recording of the Life Talk session. We have of course here some of our pastors as promised on stage with us here to answer some of the questions that you have raised. I want to just quickly say thank you for sending in those questions. We've had a great response in a short time frame. But we're going to try and get through all of them as much as we can. And if not, we'll find a way to get those answers to you. So we'll start off with just introducing the panel. We'll go from right to left. And so Pastor Dalton and Mama Lindy, why don't you start and just let them know who you are.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. And thank you for inviting us to the panel this afternoon, Pastor Nikki. My name is Pastor Dalton. I'm one of the pastors here at CTJ Church. I am here with my wife this afternoon, Lindy. We will be married for 25 years this year. And we have two children who attend church here at CTJ with us, and that is Erin and Dalen. I'll hand you over to my wife.
Hi, everybody.
I think that's it. Pastor Jim and Jay?
Yes, hi. It's us, Pastor Jim here. I'm the lead pastor at Come to Jesus Church. We're married now for 28 years. That's right. Okay, so we have two beautiful daughters. That's Rochelle and Naomi, and we currently have 3 grandsons. The one that just came, the latest one, pretty much just came about a month ago. So. 3 months ago. No, 3 months ago? All right, there you go.
Hi, my name is Jang. I'm one of the pastor here as well. And yes, 3 months ago, we had Phoenix, and we've been married. First time he got it right, 28 years. So he's doing well.
And last but not least, this lovely couple on my left.
So I'm Rita and Riddell, so we're pastors at the church as well. So we've been married for 23 years, coming up to 23 years next month. So we are parents to a young adult, 3 teenagers, and 2 dogs. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, so we're going to get straight into it. We have grouped the questions, and we're going to start off with one of the popular ones, which is dating and courtship. So the first question that I want to ask is, what is the difference between dating and courtship, and is it necessary? Pastor Ritz?
Oh, me. You can do it.
Okay. Actually, to be honest, we needed to search it as well because of the difference of, I suppose, of culture. In Filipino culture, courtship is basically just comes first, and then you start dating. But I think the real explanation for it is dating is when you're trying to find a partner. So it's getting to know people, getting to know them, and then actually find the suitability of that person. Where in courtship is an exclusive relationship. Basically, you're preparing to be married, or to at least be getting into a commitment or getting into marriage. So that's the difference of it. Is it necessary? Yes, it is very much necessary. I think first, dating is So it's necessary because to really know people, you need to be able to have a little bit of relationship with them, right? So, and it could be in a context of being in a group, of knowing these people, and it be also in a context of at least just catching up for coffee or something like that, and that could be considered dating. Courtship, of course, is very important, wherein you're trying to build the relationship toward marriage, and this is where the discussions of, is your belief aligned together? Is the future of what you want to establish in the future aligned together? Is what you want to progress on is actually suited? And most importantly, is your relationship actually anchored into the belief of Christ? That's the most important bit of courtship.
So would you then say that it's dating first and then courtship?
Yes, to that context it is. To the Filipino context, it was the other way around. That's why we got involved. But it is dating first. It's knowing, like if you have, it's a big group of people. We've got church. There's a lot of people. And just trying to know each other a little bit before you even progress to, like an exclusive relationship.
Okay, so from that understanding, I'm picking up that dating is more of a relaxed setting. It's more so a group sometimes, and then courtship is like, yep, this is you and I, and we're going to move towards marriage. Is that a fair call? Wonderful.
Amen.
Okay, great answer. We got a second question for you. How do you conceptualize relationship with a partner? And do you believe people are placed by God specifically to be a partner with a certain person? Pastor Jane?
First, may I answer the second question? Yes, I do believe that God has someone placed for you. God orchestrated things for you to have someone if you desire that. And the first question is how you conceptualize
Relationships
relationship.
with
It
a partner.
depends on how you think. What are you conceptualizing in there? What's your concept in there? It's up to you. So for me, relationship, I believe it is God's ordained. And for me, that's why with the second question, I answered it first. Yes, it is God's will. It is God's plan for you to have someone in your life. And because when you have that relationship, both of you, your goal should always be to honor Him in that relationship. So that's how that's my concept of relationship.
Can I also just add to that? According to Paul, he says there are certain people that have been intended to get married, and then there are those that chose not to get married. So if you choose not to get married, then that's not wrong. But yes, if it's a heart's desire, then God does have someone for you.
Wonderful. Good answers, guys. You're doing well. Here's another one. How long is too long to wait before looking for a partner? It's a very broad question. So I'm going to give it to our expert, Pastor Jim.
How long is too long? That's a nice question, and again, I must agree. It's such a broad question in itself. I don't think there's a time limit on that. I mean, I think at the end of the day is God knows if you're prepared for it, and when you're prepared for it, then you begin to work with Him on that arena. You don't go ahead of His time, nor you don't want a premature relationship at the endings. And so I won't put any time limit. Okay, there's always the perfect timing of God. Though I would say, and I would stress out, you don't go ahead of His timing, because that's where you're gonna spell disaster in that relationship.
Sorry. Sorry. Just wanted to add, I think it's never too long to wait for the right one. So take your time, and like what Pastor Jim said, don't rush into a relationship.
And I believe as well to enter into a relationship is you have to be ready mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and most of all, financially. You don't want to date someone, when you're not ready in all those aspects. So there's a lot of considerations you have to do.
And I think just to add on that, a lot of people, they get pressurized based on culture and based on the peer group that they are in. That is something that, especially as Christians, we actually just shouldn't allow, because as like Pastor Jim said, that is the time that we run ahead of God. And I think as a Christian, it's important that that when you are waiting for the right person, to always make sure that request is birthed in prayer. And sometimes relationships don't happen as quick for some as for others, but it is important that it lines up with God's perfect timing for you, because that's where the blessing rests.
Yeah, really, that's so good to stress prayer and really highlighting that it is God's relationship rather than our timing. Here's another question that was given. Is it normal in church culture to give hugs and be physically affectionate? Is it okay to ask our Christian friends to reduce physical affection towards our partner if it makes us feel uncomfortable? And to finish off that question is, does it seem too demanding or make us seem too insecure? Pastor Rods, your thoughts on that?
I think I think in a church culture, it's natural to be more affectionate. So there's going to be a lot of hugging well, it's social distancing now, but prior to that, then it's actually more. It's okay. I would say that you do not ask your friends to not hug your partner. I think you ask your partner, you discuss it with your partner, if that makes you uncomfortable. But most importantly, I think you need to delve a little bit more deeper. Why does it make you uncomfortable? Is it because of something in you, wherein what's happening around you is like it's nothing, but then you're putting a lot of that because of some security issues with you or something like that. Because if you cannot trust your partner with your friends and your church friends, I don't think that you could trust him to be anywhere else, to be doing the right thing. So the discussion is not with your friends, but the discussion is what is happening with you, and discussing it with your partner, and then delving much more deeper into it. Why am I reacting like that when it's, there's nothing really in there? And I think that's actually a better way of doing it than telling everybody, please don't hug my partner or don't touch him or anything like that. Because that then becomes, it is funny, but it is a lot more awkward and everything like that. But yeah, if there's a real good foundation in that relationship, you should be able to talk about it. And if there's anyone else that could actually be able to help you get over that, that is your partner,
I agree with that. Sorry, Pastor Nikki. Also because if you're not allowing your partner to be themselves, that means you are controlling them, and that is bordering on abuse, because you are isolating that person from others.
Would you say that goes the same for those that are dating and people that are married, or does it sort of change when marriage comes into place?
No, I think it's for both relationships, because if we don't resolve that kind of control before we get into a marriage, then it's going to get worse.
Fair point. And is it okay to ask dating advice from people that have not been in a relationship yet? Or is it more ideal that we ask people who have dated, married, or have been taken already? Pastor Dalton, your thoughts?
Well, I guess there is always benefit. There is always maximum benefit, let's put it that way, from to learn from somebody who's been there, done that, right? Who's lived the life, who's gone through the experience. There's nothing more invaluable than that. But there is nothing wrong also with getting advice from somebody who, for example, hasn't dated. That doesn't discount the knowledge that they carry, because that is what life experience is about. It's not just about the practical things, but it's also about the theoretical things that you pick up as an individual and as you mature in life. And so, you know, I'm not a mechanic by trade, but I know, for example, that if I don't check my oil and water regularly, that my motor will cease. So it is important, I think, that in both aspects, whether it is, you know, somebody who hasn't been there, but that carry the knowledge and good knowledge of it. And then, of course, as I said, there's always the maximum benefit is with somebody who's actually done it. Will be very helpful.
Sorry, can I just add something on that? Also, you need to, you surround yourself with people that are you're accountable to. And they may not be in any relationship, but they might be able to tell you if you're going into a wrong relationship, or if you're thinking, or the way of thinking is off about that relationship. Someone that you do not have a relationship with, but they're married and they could be, you know, and they're doing well, would not be able to help you with that. But the close friends that don't have relationship would be truthful to you and be able to correct you that way. So there is, as what Pastor Dalton is saying, we maximize the knowledge, we maximize the know-how, we maximize as much as we can from the different people that surround us, because then there's more holistic picture that they could actually see and that other people may not see.
And a relationship isn't just a boy and a girl. It can be friends between each other. A relationship can be parents and child. So with each relationship comes different dynamics. And so we cannot undermine someone's knowledge about a relationship because they haven't been in a courtship maybe. If that is being answered, then Pastor Rods had said that correctly, that ask the person who's been in that kind of relationship. But if it is just everyday relationships, then you can literally ask anybody.
Yeah, let me add on that one. You have to remember as well in the New Testament, the love doctor, the one who spoke more in marriage is someone who's not married, and that's Paul. So we gain knowledge on both a spectrum of someone who is on a relationship and someone who has who are not in a relationship. You gain that. Again, it's what you guys said. We maximize counsel from godly people.
Yeah, and I suppose as someone who is single, I certainly know my limits, and I would never say anything that is outside my knowledge, but I do always emphasize the truth. And the truth is very clear. It's not hazy. You know, there's the truth in honoring, in loving, and looking after people. And I think that the greatest foundation of that is Scripture. More than anything. So I have to agree with what has already been said. I think, yes, my experiences are limited, but I'm one to communicate the gospel at all costs anyway. So thank you. And last, do you have something to add?
Yeah, I do. I forgot. No, I think it is important, like what you guys have said, that, you know, we seek wise counsel. And whenever we do approach somebody, I think if you're really seeking for the truth, you need to be prepared to hear what you don't want to hear, right? Like, you don't just go to people who you know would agree with you, but you want someone who would challenge, you know, whatever you're feeling or whatever your questions are. And just as an example, if I do have, you know, not issues, but if I'm going through things, say, with the kids, I love speaking to people who have older kids and ask them how they've dealt with things like that. Or I'll speak with girlfriends that I have who have kids the same age and just see whether, you know, how are they dealing with it. I even talk to Nikki as their leader and see, you know, what is it like with the young people nowadays. And so I just want to have that whole understanding. And so and obviously, of course, then you you pray about it and just take everything into consideration. But the bottom line is, you seek wise counsel, and again, be prepared to hear what you don't want to hear.
Wonderful. The last question for this topic is dating multiple people in the span of a year a godly idea? Or is it better to be in singleness?
We've defined at the beginning of the panel that dating is really just getting to know people, like a social date and things. So is it okay to date different people at different times, not at the same time? I think that's the question, right?
Yeah. And I think to be straightforward and answer it maybe, there's nothing wrong with dating different people. That's fine. The fact is that dating is a social aspect of a relationship. That means that you have more than one friend that you're catching up for coffee. You have more than one person that you trying to get to know their characteristics, who they are. There is nothing wrong in that aspect. I think if it does go wrong, then you also have that liberty to say thanks but no thank you, because it is just that social aspect of it. Whereas, as we defined before, courting is really that next level of accountability, where we talk about having spiritual guidance that goes along with that, as opposed to dating. So I don't think there's a problem with dating multiple people, but is it better to stay single? As Pastor Juma said, Paul is the guy who wrote the most about marriage, but was also single. He's the guy that said, for me to live is Christ. That was his whole life. So I don't think there's a problem with that either.
I just want to add, dating and boyfriend and girlfriend, it's not a sin. What we do not want to happen is that they would base dating and courting into what the culture is actually saying what dating and courting is. Because that culture is an ever-changing culture. And that's also rolling down the hill very fast. What we want it to be based on is the foundation of Jesus Christ, what we believe in, what courting and dating is supposed to be, right? So based on that, we cannot move the line as we see fit. The Bible is very clear on some of these areas, right? So let us be careful with that. Let us be careful that, in any relationship that we pursue it's actually in love and in good motive, right? And it's also based on what we believe Jesus wants us to actually do.
And it is okay if the person that you are dating isn't at the same level as you, to not put that person under pressure either, because that will also create a lot of other issues down the track.
Oh, I just got 10 more questions in my head, but I think the session's over. So, in a nutshell, pray with your eyes open for the singles. Yeah?
Broaden your horizons.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so that ends that session. Thanks, everyone.